Mahalia Jackson, the voice that carried a movement. Welcome to the Whisper Report, where we explore the untold, the misunderstood, and the silent voices of history and fame. This channel shares emotionally driven storytelling based on publicly available sources and documented history. While we aim to present facts with care, this content also reflects human complexity, interpretation, and the whisper between the headlines. Viewers' discretion is advised. Hello, my whisperers. Today, we honor a woman whose voice didn't just sing, it lifted a people. Mahalia Jackson wasn't chasing fame. She wasn't chasing charts. She was carrying faith, pain, and hope through a nation that tried to silence her spirit. This is the story of Mahalia Jackson, the queen of gospel. Born from the church. Mahalia Jackson was born on October 26, 1911, in New Orleans, Louisiana. Into deep poverty and deep faith, she grew up in a cramped house with extended family, raised by strict religious values and the sounds of church hymns echoing through her childhood. Life was hard, discipline was harsh, but music was her refuge. From a young age, Mahalia's voice stood out. Not polished, not trained, but anointed. She sang in church not for applause, but for deliverance. People didn't clap, they felt something. Her voice carried sorrow, endurance, and belief. As a young woman, Mahalia moved to Chicago during the Great Migration, joining thousands of Black families searching for opportunity. She joined the Great Salem Baptist Church, and that's where her voice truly found its calling. Unlike many singers of her time, Mahalia made a choice that would define her life. She refused to sing secular music, no jazz clubs, no blues records, no compromise. Even when offered money, fame, and crossover success, she said no. She believed gospel was sacred, and that belief would make her one of the most influential voices in American history. Faith, fame, and resistance. Mahalia Jackson's voice was no longer confined to church walls. By the late 1940s and the 1950s, she had become a national phenomenon, selling millions of records without ever compromising her faith. Her recordings of Move On Up a Little Higher and Take My Hand, Precious Lord, reached audiences far beyond the Black church. White America listened, Black America leaned in, and the world took notice. But Mahalia's fame wasn't rooted in celebrity. It was rooted in conviction. She continued to refuse nightclub performances, television appearances that demanded watered-down gospel, and any request to sing secular music. Many called her stubborn, others called her foolish. Mahalia called it obedience. As her influence grew, so did her role in the fight for justice. She became a close confidant of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., not just as a performer, but as a spiritual anchor. When King was exhausted, discouraged, or afraid, it was Mahalia's voice he turned to. At rallies and marches, she didn't entertain, she strengthened. Her singing gave people courage to face police dogs, jail cells, and violence. And on August 28, 1963, at the March on Washington, when Dr. King began his speech, it was Mahalia Jackson who stood behind him and whispered, "Tell them about the dream, Martin." Moments later, he delivered the words that would change history, the "I have a dream" speech. Mahalia Jackson didn't just witness history, she helped summon it. But with power comes consequence. As Mahalia's influence grew, she faced threats, harassment, and criticism, not just from white supremacists, but even within her own community. Some believed she was too political. Others felt she should just stay quiet. Mahalia refused. Her voice was her resistance. The weight of the crown. Mahalia Jackson carried more than a voice. She carried expectation. She carried grief. She carried a nation's hope on her shoulders. As the civil rights movement intensified, so did the emotional toll on Mahalia. She traveled constantly, churches, rallies, funerals, marches, offering strength to everyone but herself. Behind closed doors, the weight became unbearable. She suffered from chronic health issues, including heart problems and exhaustion, worsened by years of stress and non-stop work. Yet she rarely slowed down. Mahalia believed rest was a luxury she couldn't afford, not while people were still fighting to be free. Then came April 4th, 1968. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. Mahalia was devastated. At his funeral, it was Mahalia who sang, "Take my hand, precious Lord." Her voice trembling, not with performance, but with heartbreak. The same song that had comforted King in a life now accompanied him in death. After his passing, Mahalia withdrew. The movement felt quieter, the world felt heavier, and the woman who had once been the sound of hope now struggled with loneliness and declining health. In her later years, she battled heart failure and diabetes. Her once booming voice growing softer, but never losing its power. Even weakened, her presence remained sacred. On January 27th, 1972, Mahalia Jackson passed away at the age of 60. Her funeral was attended by thousands, a testament to the lives she touched, the courage she inspired, and the faith she carried through generations. Mahalia Jackson didn't just sing gospel music, she was the gospel. Mahalia Jackson's voice didn't chase applause, it carried purpose. In a world filled with noise, she chose faith. In a time of fear, she chose courage. She sang not to be heard, but to heal. This has been the Whisper Report, where we honor the voices that lifted history forward, even when the world tried to silence them. If Mahalia's story moved you, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe, because some whisperers don't fade, they echo forever.